Hey everybody, this video tutorial is the first in our series on Blender that follows this little mini course here from my website techified.weebly.com, and you just hover over design and fabrication and head down and click on Blender, and that will take you right here, and it's this little mini course. And I did not create this mini course, so full disclosure here, it's by this person who freely shares it and wants people to use it, so I'm freely sharing it as well right there on my website. And the one we're going to create is the first in the series of tutorials in this mini course, and the end result is this little house shape. So it's very beginner, very basic, and this is actually intended for my high school students who are working through some Blender projects right now, and it's just meant to, I guess, supplement this actual step-by-step tutorial. So as I go through it, I'm not necessarily going to follow the exact tutorial steps to the T, but it'll be pretty close, and it should give you a good idea of how to create that simple house on your own. And you'll notice down here in the bottom left corner, you'll see all of my inputs. So depending on what it is, you'll see it come up down there, so you can get a good idea of what it is that I'm clicking to make the things on the screen actually do what they're doing. The only thing that I haven't been able to get come up yet would be my number pad entries, and you might ask, well, how come you don't use the numbers along the top of the keyboard? They do different things in Blender than what the number pad would. You can set them up to act as the number pad, but typical practice is to use the number pad. But I can show you, if you go to File, User Preferences, and go to Input, you can say Emulate Numpad, and then the numbers along the top will do what you would want them to do. However, they're mostly good for, say, a laptop that doesn't have a number pad and the keyboard, or that sort of situation. So we're going to avoid that, and as best I can, I'll try and remember to let you know when I do make an entry that is from the number pad. Okay, so we start off with this default cube, and I won't get into in this one how to change that out into a different mesh, but for now we'll just use this one. And the top left corner here, you see I'm in user perspective. So if I look at this from the front view by pressing 1 on the number pad, so that is what we're considering to be the front. Now if I hit G to grab that and move it, you can see that you can start to see different sides of this cube. And for this particular project, I don't really want that, so I'm going to hit 5 on the number pad, and you can see this changes to orthographic view. So this is the front view from the orthographic, and now when I move that around, you can see the only thing we're seeing is that front side. Okay, so I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate. Now that is duplicated, you can't really see it until I start moving it, but I'll leave that right there, and I'm going to hit Z to lock it on the Z axis, and I'm going to hit Control to bring it up one square on my graph at a time and lock it right there. So I hold Control and then click where I want it, and now you can see we have one on top of the other. So that's the front view. If I hit 7 on the number pad, I've gone to the top view, and I'm going to hit Tab to tab into edit mode, and you notice now that this is orange. Well, that means that that is selected, and I don't necessarily want all of it selected, so I'm going to hit A on the number pad to deselect, and now you can see it's deselected. So I'll go back to top view, and this feature here is to limit selection to what is visible. So if that is disabled and I hit B to do a box select, you can see I've selected the whole object, which I don't want in this case. So I'm going to hit A to deselect, then I'm going to enable the limit selection to visible feature, and I'll hit B to box select, and now you can see I just have that top face. So with that selected, I'm going to hit S to scale and X to lock it on the x-axis, and I'll bring it in somewhere around there to act as the point of my house. Now I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit because you can see I'm into the negatives on the y-axis. So what I would like to do is switch back into object mode. So I hit tab and I hold shift to select both of these things, and then I'm going to look at it from the front view, G to grab, hold control, and bring that, lock it on the z-axis, and then bring it up to be even with my x-axis. So now I'm above ground in its entirety. And that is kind of it in terms of constructing our model. So if I select my camera and I hit 0 to look at it from camera mode, you can say, oh, that doesn't look right. So if you just hit G with the camera selected, you can actually move the camera to where you need it. And now you can see that if I hit F12 to render, we've got what we were looking to achieve. And when it comes to this side being dark and the rest being light, that just has to do with where your light source is. So that's our light source, and I can do the same thing. I can hit 0 to go into camera mode, although that I need the render, I guess, to show the effect of the light. But just in terms of where the light is in relation to our model. And now if I hit F12, you can see the shading has changed. So there's all sorts of different options for lighting, but that's a whole other tutorial. So that is it for this one. Students of mine that are watching should make sure they save this to the H drive, and where you go from here is in the handy step-by-step tutorial. You should make your way on down to the challenge that goes with it, and you'll be submitting this through Google Classroom, and basically you should be able to build this based on the skills that you've acquired in this step-by-step tutorial that we just completed. Alright, thanks very much for watching.